almost feels like it's summer already. I guess the sunshine will be sticking around for a while. And what's going on today? I guess hearing this at first, I was wondering, is this that story again about the Gatwick and the drone that was pretty much proven to be nothing so far? Well, how about another incident? This one says suspected drone disrupts Gatwick airport flights. Operations at Gatwick Airport were disrupted after a suspected drone was seen close to the airfield. A spokesman for the airport in West Sussex said operations were suspended temporarily just before 13:45 BST but resumed about 50 minutes later. He said 12 inbound aircraft were diverted to other airports during the incident, but many were expected to return to Gatwick on Sunday. So was there actually a drone, or is this, again, kind of like that previous incident where they made such a big deal about it and it ended up being nothing thus far? It says here Gatwick was shut for more than a day in December 2018 after drone sightings. No one was ever prosecuted over the incident that caused chaos for travelers, affected more than 1,000 flights and about 140,000 passengers. And so since then, experts have been working on systems to prevent drones disrupting operations at major airports. I personally find that statement kind of weird because, again, it wasn't proven to be a drone back then, but then here they said because of that, they've been investing heavily, I guess, in ways to prevent drones from disrupting the airport operations. It's good to have, I guess, systems and stuff in place, but again, you didn't prove it's a drone, but then you say, oh, this gives us a reason to invest more into it. It's almost like saying, what? You didn't prove who did the crime, but regardless, you're gonna invest heavily in making sure these certain types of people or whatever can never get in the area. How do you know it wasn't internal, for example? Somebody screwed up maybe and they're using it as an excuse. If this was a huge error on their part, like before as well, where there was no quote drone, I can just imagine too where you'd be in a position because you didn't just outright admit it, for example. Let's just say that was the case, oh, it's your fault. You probably really want a quote drone incident just so you can say, aha, I told you so eventually, huh? Kind of reminds me of people who fearmonger toy drones, for example, where people are doing it perfectly safe. It's like a tiny little thing. They're flying around trees or something like that. But because, I don't know, for whatever reason, they want to follow this fear mongering or this narrative, they're insistent. They tell everyone, no, it's dangerous. You never do this. And because nothing ever happens, it's kind of like they're hoping something bad happens just so they could say, aha, I told you, that's why we need this and that. Kind of crazy overall. Let's see what happens in this story, huh? Today is Mother's Day too, and while a lot of people are celebrating, this article was kind of interesting as it kind of says people need to change Mother's Day because it kind of went off track, it's too commercialized or whatever. This one says, time to change the focus of Mother's Day, Sociologist says. University professor says we need to refocus Mother's Day, but not in the way you might think. Sarita Srivastava, a sociology professor at the Dean of Arts and Science faculty at OCAD University in Toronto, said the holiday has become overly commercialized and somewhat disingenuous. It's the one day to go, thank you mama for doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, and all the domestic labor, she said. Mother's Day was originally conceived during the US Civil War to highlight its effect on families, particularly women. In the last century and a half, Srivastava said the focus has shifted to be about celebrating mothers for the work they put in at home. She said some of those celebrations are performative, for example, when children make breakfast in bed for their mother, but the mother is then expected to clean it up. Instead, Srivastava said society should return to treating Mother's Day as a non-commercial call to arms about injustices faced by families. The original intent of Mother's Day was to highlight the impact of war on families and women and not to provide a voice to women to intervene to act for peace, not meaning just acting against war but creating powerful, peaceful communities. Her comments come after teachers at a Quebec school decided to celebrate parents on Mother's Day rather than just moms, a move that became so controversial provincial legislators felt compelled to weigh in. The school service center that oversees La Chanterelle School in Quebec City said the teachers made the decision because some students don't have a mother or father, while others are in foster homes. And saying here, these debates in Quebec about preserving Mother's Day and Father's Day are misdirected because they don't actually honor the original intention of these days. So what would you think there? Should there be such a thing as just a Mother's Day or a Father's Day? Should they just be a Parents' Day? Because I guess as the argument here is some kids don't have, let's just say, a mother or a father. Either way, I think I agree it is commercialized, but what isn't in terms of these holidays? I mean, in terms of like a Mother's Day or a Father's Day, shouldn't every day be like one of those days? I mean, usually if I see something good, for example, that's on, say, sale at the supermarket or something I think they would like, I'd buy it and go bring it to them and so forth. I mean, I don't know why you need like a certain day to do stuff like that in general. Alright, see you guys later.